Philadelphia Union have named their Jim Curtin replacement, and it is former St. Louis FC head coach Bradley Carnell.
Yes. The best way to look at this is that Ernst Tanner got his guy, a guy that will do exactly what Ernst Tanner wants. I'm not saying that Bradley Carnell isn't his own man or that he isn't a good soccer coach. I think he is a good soccer coach, and I do think that he has some traits about him that even divorced from the Ernst Tanner issue would make him a reasonable candidate for a lot of MLS teams. But this is 100% Ernst Tanner hitting run on his software. Ernst Tanner is installing he's cleared out the bugs, and in his case, Jim Curtin was the bug. Jim Curtin was the thing in the system that was altering what Ernst Tanner wanted his system to do. And now he's got rid of that piece of the story, a piece of the situation, the system, and he's replaced Jim Curtin with a guy who will do exactly what he wants, which is play high pressing, crazy balls to the wall soccer while also giving opportunities to a lot of the academy and young players that the Union have coming through their system.
So would you say when you're talking about installing the software and it being exactly like a his guy sort of a hire, does that lend itself to the Philadelphia Union's stereotype of them being a low spender, not really willing to lay out the cash? So you're kind of trying to like go effort over quality in a sense there.
Yeah, I mean, who do you think who do you think costs more in terms of salary as an MLS coach? Sandro Schwartz of the New York Red Bulls or Bradley Carnell, who just got the Union job after a short stint, a year and a half in St. Louis? Who costs more, do you think?
That's pretty hard from this chair to know what the cost difference
Oh,
would be.
I guarantee you Sandro Schwartz makes significantly more money
Yeah?
than Bradley
Okay.
Carnell is getting paid in Philadelphia. Absolutely. He's got a European pedigree, right? He's got something he can point to on his resume that is, I did this in Europe. That is not something Bradley Carnell has. Bradley Carnell has been in Europe. He's played in Europe. He's got some background, but he is a budget choice. He will run the software that Ernst Tanner wants to run, and he will not cost the organization a lot of money. And I do think that it's right for Union fans to be frustrated in the fact that their team occupies the fifth largest market in the country, and they act like Real Salt Lake. They act like a small budget team. You know what? Who is also a small market team, or who is a small market team as opposed to Philadelphia, which is not a small market? The Columbus Crew.
Yeah.
That's a small market. Do they act like a small market team? Do they spend like a small market team? They don't. They spend like a team that wants to win championships. Now, I'm not saying they spend a
They
ton of
spend
money.
in a very smart way. When they were still in the bottom third of spending, I believe.
That may be true, but they also went out and outlaid nearly $10 million for Cucho Hernandez, and look at how that has turned out for them.
Fair
right?
enough. Yeah,
And
you're right. There's definitely more pointed, and they've definitely got a much better hit rate from the folks that they brought in.
I think the Union are lining up a transfer right now for a center back who is going to cost them a couple $1 million. Ian Glavinovich, who is coming up from Newell's Old Boys.
Oh,
Actually, I think that deal is already done. He's been acquired. I don't know. I'm trying to find the number on this, but I don't believe it's more than a couple $1 million.
I wonder
And
what
that
the
is
head-to-head
the
record
most.
is between Newell's Old Boys and Young Boys. I wonder if they have any like historical kind of.
You're asking randomly because of Ian Glavinovich whether the Argentine team called Newell's Old Boys has ever played the Swiss club called Young Boys. That's what you're asking?
My mind wanders sometimes. My apologies. It's like who wins in the match between the Old Boys and the Young Boys?
That is a good question. We should work that situation. That's what the Club World Cup is all about, Rob.
If they haven't met yet, that's the opportunity to do it.
I mean, I don't know that either one of them has qualified for the Club World Cup, but I would say
Get that in there.
to Mr. Infantino, please make Young Boys versus Old Boys happen because Rob is curious.
Answer that age-old question.
Right. My point is, right after the Union signed Glavinovich, and that deal did go final a couple of weeks ago. My point is that Philly has gone backwards, at least while Jim Curtin was there, and they didn't spend a crazy amount of money. Right. Their success stories were players like Kai Wagner, who came out of the third division of German football, and you can put that straight on Ernst Tanner's ledger. right? He's the one that went through his Rolodex, found Kai Wagner, brought him over to MLS and turned him into an MLS best 11 caliber wingback. That is fair to say that Ernst Tanner has a knack for that. You can point to some of these other, but they do not spend. They just do not spend, and they're not going to spend. And this is complete entrenchment on that plan that they will not spend. Now, it's also worth pointing out, and I had Jose Roberto Nunez, who's a reporter that covers the Union, say this to me yesterday. While it's fair to point to Philadelphia being a big market and saying, why do the Union act like a small market club? You can say that at the time that Union ownership bought into Major League Soccer, what, 2010 for the Philadelphia Union, what was the expansion fee for an MLS team?
Can I
$10
guess?
million?
Oh, I
Maybe?
was gonna say 25, but is that
It
high?
could. I think that's high. I think that's high. I think 2007 TFC launched and their expansion fee was $5 million, if I remember that correctly. So 3 years later, I very seriously doubt it had gone up. It could have. Maybe it did. We're watching the NWSL. Their rates are climbing astronomically in just a year or two. But regardless, the point is Jay Sugarman and the Philadelphia Union ownership, they are not resourced. They are not deep-pocketed the way that Mansour is pocketed in San Diego, where they're paying $500 million, or the group behind St. Louis, or the group these are clubs that have owners. Oh, it was $30 million. Did you double check that? All right, Union paid $30 million. Still a fraction of what it costs now, right? Like just a tiny amount compared to. So again, like if you want the Union to act big, I guess the argument would be that they need new ownership who has more money and is willing to spend out ahead of things in order to win championships. The Union now have chosen their path for the moment, and their path is Ernst Tanner. He is the man in charge. Bradley Carnell is an expression of that.
Yeah, to your point, the headline or the main quote that's being referenced in the release of this news from the club, with knowledge of both MLS and international markets, Bradley Carnell is tactically astute and aligned with our sporting strategy. With his approach emphasizing a high press style. So
in the statement, in one of the statements made with a quote by Ernst Tanner, he said that this hire was an opportunity to get back to their identity. The word "back" is doing a lot of work in that statement. It's saying that whatever Jim Curtin was doing was not our identity. And now that he's gone and Bradley Carnell is in place, we're going to go back to what exactly? I mean, I guess the early days of Curtin, the Hackworth era. I mean, I don't know what we're talking about here. You know what didn't happen when Jim Curtin was not the head coach of the Philadelphia Union? They didn't win games. They didn't win anything. They weren't a playoff team. They were bad before Jim Curtin took over. And I can't say it's only Jim Curtin because I've already pointed out that Ernst Tanner is a smart signer of budget talent. But man, come on. What are we doing here taking shots at Jim when he's already out the door, cleaning his sneaker collection, saying, let's get back to an identity.
Is Ernst Tanner doing like a not a MAGA, but a MUA move, make the Union underperforming again?
That was a long walk, Rob.
He's a MUA guy.
Oh, man.
We shall see. But either way, the Union job no longer on the list of MLS head coaching vacancies. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in to Long Balls here on Friday morning. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Follow along on social media at MKickaround. If you've got any commercial or content inquiries or questions, morningkickaround@gmail.com.